What's up, Pats fans? Pat's Tailgate Party Podcast. What episode are we in, Andrew?
I really 15. It was 15 last week.
Oh, 15. Man. The best part is it's not even...
but who's counting?
Yeah, that... Oh, man. The best part, Andrew, is I don't actually need you to know. I just need you to say who's counting.
Well, I think that shtick got particularly old when we started to do who's our favorite Patriot with the number of the things. So we are actually counting.
All right, okay.
I'm happy
so
to just,
so switch it over.
Always.
So
that will be helpful.
Oh, that's good. Episode 15. We're back better than ever. And we're in a much better mood today. We'll go around the horn in a second, but Pass got back on track on Sunday, which was great to see. And we'll talk about that a little bit, get into some playoff hopes, if you will. My name is Michael Lakis. Listen, if you haven't gone to Boston Sports Journal, I say it, I've said it 15 weeks now. BostonSportsJournal.com. Greg Bedard puts on the best analysis, the best videos, everything you can want as a Boston sports fan, but also a Patriots fan, to be sure. My name there is Pat Sock-Seltz Bruce. So we'll just go around the horn. I know all of us are members here on Boston Sports Journal. So kicking to my right, my brother Andrew. Andrew, how are you today?
I'm great. Couldn't agree with you more. Boston Sports Journal. Every January I get the bill in my renewal each year, and it's the best $35. I don't know what it is now, but I get charged $35. And it's the best $35 I spend as a Boston sports fan all year. And on there, I'm winter coats. Have been in the chat lately, trying to bring a little bit of redirection to the group in there. Lately, feels like everybody wants to go after Belichick and talk about how terrible a GM he is. So I'll pass it over to Bill. What you got?
So looking forward to another great podcast. Love BSJ. I don't post that often. Excuse me on the cough. My handle there is Bill D1954.
Awesome. Very cool. Mike Davis, over to you.
Mike from Stoneham. Actually been more trolling on the Bruins coverage this week, but there's no doubt BSJ is the premier site for paid content, and it's worth every nickel. Greg was my favorite writer before he started BSJ, so it's a no-brainer, and some of the other writers are tremendous too. It's a consistently great platform, and I'm really excited about talking about the game last week and the game coming up, and face and B flow, and where they're going to end up in the playoffs.
Awesome. All right, then we'll go down. Dad, I think you're on to this Bruce Arians Kango look, man. I think you.
Yeah, but I went with my new Patriots.
Look at that sharp thing. Look at you. Down there.
Hi guys. D Lakis on BSJ, and I'll plug BSJ as well. It's, as Mike Davis said, great coverage all across the board and all of Boston sports. And if anybody's not on there, go ahead and join. Come up in January and join. It's awesome.
Hey, Coach Arians, do you need some help changing your username on BSJ? Do you know how to do that?
Yeah, we've talked to you about it for 2 months now.
I might need a little help with that. I
don't know. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Bruce, why is Antonio Brown still on the roster? Yeah,
you haven't cut him yet. What's going on?
I can't tell you that, except I read the statement by Antonio yesterday.
Why'd you try to make him play with an injured ankle?
I was telling Bill Davis before we got on, if that's the case, that changes my tune a little bit about that whole situation.
So possibly, but don't do jumping jacks while you're coming off the sideline.
Well, no. I mean, he ran across the field. He sprinted across the field like he was trying to catch a bus. I don't know.
I mean, it's a disaster. I don't know. One word on this. I mean, I do agree with Tom Brady, and this was not popular in the BSJ chat. Anytime somebody's having a mental health breakdown, it is clear something is not right with Antonio.
Sure.
Right.
Realistic empathy. I'm not saying we should give more chances, but something's not right with that cat. That
totally.
whole thing is just, and if you go back years, I mean,
that's not news.
No, something's not okay with him. I hope he gets whatever help he needs.
Well, I think it's a good call, and I think and we kind of plug it. It's not really sponsorship plug like we do BSJ, but Man in the Arena, if you watch that, it's the Brady documentary on ESPN. He talks a lot about there's that similar, Andrew, what you're talking about is his press conference where he said, hey, we should all have compassion, and he was really calm about it. He really talks a lot, at least on the latest episode, where he gets into like a lot of stuff about what happened in 2017, kind of how him and the Patriots and Belichick started kind of separating. He talks about his personal life, and he's a really private guy. And so he really talks about like, and Mike, I know you've seen it, and it's kind of a raw thing. Some of the language is even raw. And he talks a lot about like, not everybody knows everything. He's like, a lot of stuff you hear in the media is, false narrative, and people act like they know everything. They don't really know, he uses a choice word, but he's talking about the same thing with Brown. He's saying, y'all don't know it. You don't know everything. Like literally, we don't need to act like we know everything in the media, and we wouldn't consider ourselves in the media really, but it's just interesting to hear that and watch that episode and then see it happen kind of on that press conference. So I agree with you. I think, there's a lot of hearsay and a lot of stuff that's said out there, but clearly there's a problem with AB. So, but with that said, let's kick it into Sunday. Pat's drop another 50 burger. Prediction wise, I guess I'll take the win on being the closest prediction. It's amazing how I do that when I win a prediction, not so much when I lose one. Kind of skate right past it.
It goes with the perfect storm. You're real close, or you're out in left field.
Oh man, I'll tell you what though. They and Bedard said it in a lot of his articles. That was get right spot. Right. Like I know it was the Jags. They were like a JV team. I mean, it was, I say
high
that.
school team.
Yeah, it wasn't good, Bill. You're right. Although it's still an NFL team. Like literally, it's still the top 1%, probably at the bottom of the 1% players in the NFL. But they dominated. They dominated the game 150-10. It was awesome. So thoughts, we'll just go around the room. Thoughts for you guys. We'll spend a few minutes here, and then we'll kick it into our favorite 15 player for the Pats. But what do you guys think on Sunday? I thought it was just awesome. I don't even have any like specific thoughts. It was just fun. I had fun finally in the last 2 weeks to watch a game.
Well, I mean, I think that they did what they had to do. Of course, historically sometimes they struggle with lesser teams, and this was a game that could have caught them. And they went out right, like you said, Mike, right from the get-go, and just started from the first series and kept right on going, and actually looked like they were having fun playing football out there. So hopefully it rolls over to this coming Sunday.
Agreed.
I'll start by observing that they had both backs on the field.
Yep.
Right. And I think that coach has been kind of harping on this, that when they've got both Stevenson and what's his name there on the field, they play much better, and they can play power. And I also think that this is the first time in a while nobody pressed their receivers, right? I think that Jacksonville was playing a lot of zone, so their receivers had some room to move, and that meant Mac had the ability to put the ball in spots. And I don't expect to see that this week, and I don't expect to see that going forward. So it was nice, right? I mean, that's why Wilkerson was able to get a couple balls and even drop a third touchdown, right?
I'll say this, that the offensive line played very, very well on Sunday. Now, that didn't necessarily have to be the case, even though it was the Jaguars. But they did play well.
That's right. I agree. Andrew, Bill, what do you think?
So, as I said last week, when against the Bills loss, it's controlled by the offensive defensive lines. I believe football happens in the trenches. And while I don't think our defensive line against the Jags really played particularly well, I thought the offensive line was phenomenal. I really did. They what did he have an average of? But God said 3.1 seconds to make each pass. That's a long time. So with the Patriots style of doing the quick hits, that's right up their alley. Hopefully they can do more of it this week against Miami. We'll see.
Agreed. Andrew, any thoughts? Any takeaways?
I think most of what y'all have all said resonates. I mean, it was fun as a fan to watch. I like the fact they could execute, even if it was against a weakened opponent. And I think it's not lost on me that qualifying for the playoffs matters, right? I mean, I think for 20 years I took that for granted. And after last year, there was a little bit on Sunday afternoon at 4:30 when ours was over and Titans won. I was like, all right, great. We get another game. How about that? We're gonna get another week to watch football. And I think that was part of my experience on Sunday, was just being grateful that we're back in the playoffs.
I think it's dead on and good perspective. Two things that I think are opposite. While you guys were talking, two things that came across, kind of reminded stuff. I think first one, Mike, you were talking about being in zone and Mac being able to put the ball in there. I also saw, I agree. I also saw a couple dimes that he dropped. One with Jacoby Myers in the end zone on the corner route when it was man coverage, right? And I think I say that because I think the common thread for the past 2 weeks that we haven't said on this show, and I think it's totally misguided, frankly, is that the offense has been a problem. The defense has been a real problem. I think Mac hasn't looked great in the past 2 weeks, but I think that I think Mac's the answer long term, and I think why I personally don't understand why that's still being questioned by some Pats fans. I also think that we need to slow down the love fest with Christian Wilkerson. I think Greg put in his article that he had a horrible drop in that game, and if Harry drops that ball, people are rioting in the streets, right? Because just of how they feel about N'Keal Harry. And I think that Wilkerson, sure, he had a great game. Do I think he does that against the Bills, the last 2 weeks, or the Colts? No, I think he's a practice squad player. I think maybe he could develop into something. And maybe you guys have differences of opinion. I'd love to hear it. But I think he's a good kid. I don't think he can separate any better than any of the other Pats receivers. I don't think we found, a 5-star superstar receiver sitting on our practice squad. And I think that's how people responded. Maybe because he's just on the practice squad and he got a couple touchdowns, and that's a feel-good story. But I think maybe, there might be a little bit too much excitement for a guy that there's probably a reason why he hasn't played all year, to be honest.
We talked about this a while ago, right? When they put this team together originally, they put it together for a different quarterback with different skills. And I will say that I think at least Wilkerson goes to where you expect him to go and is where he is expected to be. And that's what I expect they're going to do over the next couple of years, is put more receivers in that are going to be where they need to be when they need to be there. And that's the difference, right? And I think if N'Keal Harry, who's a big physical guy who can go up and fight for a contested ball, can get to where he needs to be when he needs to be there, you're going to see that talent.
I think it's going to be telling this week against Miami whether Wilkinson is the fourth receiver. I was actually in there playing in place of Harry. I think that'll tell us a lot which way, because obviously the coaches know a lot more about Wilkinson than we know. We see one game a week. They see him every day in practice. They know how fast he is, how slow he is. There was an article in the Athletic, I think yesterday or the day before, and they were saying when Wilkinson came out, he ran a 4.740. And when he left college, he was running a 4.440. So 4.4, that's not bad. That's respectable.
Yeah, it's moving. I agree.
Yeah, it certainly is. So, again, is he still doing that now? That I can't tell you. But I think the Patriots coaches know what they have, and they'll let us know.
I think Aguilar, if he's healthy, he plays this week, because Wilson went back down to the practice squad right after the game, I think, on Sunday.
He did, but they protected him, though. So it's the first time all year that the Pats have used their practice squad protection. I think they I can't remember the cat's name on the defensive line. I was going to say ukulele. Jeff.
Yeah.
So they had 4 players that they protected on the practice squad. First time they've used it since it was instituted last year. And Wilkerson's one of them. So that could be because he had a big game that usually probably brings in other teams.
Yeah.
Pluck somebody off the practice squad, right? So
sure.
Especially this time of year, remember that half the teams are out of contention.
Right.
So they're probably going to be more liberal with the use of their practice squad movement, because they're trying to build for next year already.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Makes sense.
Somebody might want to pluck him, right? And speaking of the 15th episode, Aguilar is number 15. And
nice segue, Mike. Nice. That's just gorgeous.
That would give you that guy who at least should be able to take the top off of a defense if they are putting that tight press coverage, which we expect.
That's right. Let's. So with that, Mike, I'm gonna take your segue. I'm gonna continue pulling the string here. That was well done. So 15th episode. we've had it now going on. I think we started it on, I don't know what episode we started on, but probably double digits on who the best all-time number is based on the number of the episode. So the first person that came to my mind, and by my mind, I mean Mike Davis's mind, because he told me yesterday, was Chris Hogan. 7-Eleven, baby, open 24 hours a day. That's who came to my mind. But you had another one, Mike. I'm gonna let you and Bill and Dad. I think that this person was a little bit out of our generational scope. So I'll throw it to you guys for the other 15 that we can debate.
Go ahead, Coach. You saw him play live.
Yeah, Babe Parilli, obviously. I saw him play when they played at Fenway Park, which is Mike Holloway was the coach of the Patriots back then. But Gino Cappelletti was his main receiver. I think Gino's in the Hall of Fame, as you said yesterday, Mike. He was also he was a kicker on the team too. He didn't win any Super Bowls, as someone said yesterday. Hogan did help win 2 Super Bowls. So that probably is going to take the cake as far as the best 15 goes.
Hey, Dad, can I ask you a serious question about Cappelletti? I know we're talking 15s, probably Pirelli, but when you say kicker, was he this was in the 60s, I'd imagine.
Straight on, Mike.
Straight on. Tom Dempsey style. I was going to ask if
straight on.
Kick straight on. All right. You knew where I was going.
Oh. Funny story, too, just one quick. Gino Cappelletti also lived a long time in Wellesley, Mass, Mike.
That's awesome.
Used to come out to the high school and watch football practice once in a while.
That's awesome. You bring that up because you lived in Wellesley, Mass. For
yes,
a long time,
I did.
Right? That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So Bill, any thoughts on Pirelli, on Hogan? I mean, again, Andrew, I got to go 7-Eleven because that's what I saw, right? So,
Hogan, I remember the best. Obviously, he was the most recent. Babe Pirelli, I did not see him play at Fenway Park. Sorry, Coach. You got me on that one. But I thought it was interesting that Hogan, when his football career was done, tried out for professional lacrosse player.
Yeah.
So, pretty athletic guy.
Oh,
I also believe he's married to a physician up here in the Boston area.
New York. She lives in New York.
New York. Okay. Yep. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I was close, northeast.
Andrew, go ahead.
We're going to throw, are we going to do best number 15 based on potential or undeveloped potential? And I think somebody yesterday was talking about Ryan Mallett, who might.
Oh, my.
You always love to talk about people having Josh Allen's chooch.
The chooch. He did have
Ryan Mallett had a chooch, right? He could not actually throw it to his own teammates.
So I'm on the road in Omaha today. I don't have my soundboard, but if I did, I would hit that negative game show or that loser game show sound like 5 times.
Do you have a train wreck?
I got to be honest with you though. I remember I think you might remember this, when they drafted Ryan Mallett, I was fired up. I was really excited.
He had a huge arm, man. Everybody thought he'd be the next Bledsoe, is what I think people talked about at the time.
Oh, man.
Mike Mayock talked about him as a first-round arm talent.
Oh, man. That's bad. Ryan Mallett, what a bring up. Wow. What a call out.
So Chris Hogan, Babe Pirelli, it sounds like.
Gotta go. Yeah.
Out of this.
Yeah. I think it's one of the two. I think Dad and Bill and they even, it sounds like you guys lean Chris Hogan on that debate, right?
I would have to say so. Although Pirelli was kind of the founder of the team. I mean, when the Patriots first started back in 1960.
Is that, by the way, and I've said it for weeks that we need to get into the jersey debate, and we never do, and we got to do it going in the playoffs or something. I want them to bring back. Past Patriot helmets are great. I personally think they should. I want them to see them bring back the '90s blues and whites and play in those sometime. I think those are awesome.
Belichick won't ever do it because those are Parker jerseys.
I know, but I love, especially those whites, those '90s whites with the huge Pat the Patriot on the shoulder pads are like the greatest thing ever. But I also think they should bring back the old helmet with the with the sailor hat, or with the Patriot hat, just on the
1960.
The 60 helmet. That thing.
Not sailor hat, by the way. It's
no, I know it looks like a sailor hat, but it's
the Patriot hat, tri-corner.
The tri-corner
hat, tri-corner.
Yeah, that helmet is
Sailor
awesome.
hat. What are you talking about, man?
I
Was this
gotta tell you,
midshipman?
if they go
Sailor
back-
hat.
Andrew and I talked about this the other day. My favorite uniform is still the red jersey. I love that red jersey with the Pat the Patriot helmet. I think that's still the best uniform they have.
Oh, it's great. I don't know.
Well,
I agree with that one.
Well, this Sunday we're going to be wearing the road whites in Miami. Is that right?
Yes, we should be, unless they make us wear the blues because
I was going to say in Miami at 85 degrees, they may have us have the blue jerseys on.
Yeah, they might put the blues on. You like that road white though, Andrew?
Yeah,
I do like the road white. I also want to talk about Miami because we're running short on time.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I got us lost in that. So let's talk about Miami for a second, just a few minutes, and let's kick into the playoffs. We'll kind of wind down because we're in now, baby. So we can talk about that. So Miami, I go back, Dad. You and I think lament. I don't know why we do this to ourselves, but we lament often that if they would have won in week one at home against Miami in a game that was very winnable, they would be in the 1 seed right now with a chance to go to Miami and lock it down. That didn't happen. I worry about Miami. I think I think they got right in Jacksonville. I think Mac's going to play better because it's warm weather. And he showed that last week in some warmer weather. But Miami, Brian Flores knows how to defend his team, and they're not good in Miami historically. It's a house of horrors. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do struggle a lot and possibly lose this game. I don't want that to be the case, but I could see it.
I'll build off of what Bill said before. I think the Miami offensive line stinks. I think they're as bad as what you just saw in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Miami defensive line is better, but they're banged up. So I think that you're going to see him scheme. I think you're going to see that their corners and their safeties are pretty good, that they're going to press, they're going to try to blitz. But I don't think they're going to have an answer just for us to be able to line up and just blast the ball at them if both running backs are healthy.
Yeah.
And I actually do think that this could be a week that Aguilar and Jonnu Smith, if they give them a little bit of time to get open, that those were the skill set that they acquired, Bourne and Aguilar and Smith for, and that those could come in handy this week.
So I think you're onto something there, Mike. I think the only issue I have with their offensive line being bad, which I agree it's bad, is that they historically, like Flores knows that. So what they do is they get Tua gets the ball out in like a second. And then he makes our secondary make a play, which is what we struggle with in week one. Like he doesn't take much time back there. It's usually snap the ball, there's a read, he throws it. And so we don't have a lot of time to get to him, which is annoying because I don't think Tua is that good.
Well,
I think he's all right. But.
One of the strengths of the Dolphins team is their wideouts. I mean, they got good people on the outside. So if they do get the ball out there, it is going to be, a challenge.
Well,
I think a big key too is obviously the run game, both running backs. If Harris's hamstring is at all bothering him, I don't see him playing a whole ton Sunday, which, that changes the dynamic. But I still think they can run the ball. Mac's going to throw the ball quickly, throw it short. I think the screen game could come in the big play on Sunday. It's going to be fun to watch. I mean, we'll see what happens. They really don't have a whole lot of pressure on them down there this week, which is a good thing for them, I think. Go down there and play loose.
Agreed. Andrew, Bill?
So I think the game depends a lot on what Buffalo does. Buffalo's playing at 1. They move the Patriots to a 4:30 game. If Buffalo loses that game, I think you see a much different Patriots team come out that tunnel to start the game at 4:30. I really do.
Bill, I think they play them at the same time. So that
they move them.
Did they move Buffalo to 4?
They moved Buffalo, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah, they always try to do that whenever the game has standings, meaning within the division.
Got it. Okay.
To start at the same time so that you can't scheme it.
Okay. Sorry. I thought Buffalo was still on at 1:00.
Hey, Bill, just so you know, I did go tell Andrew and Michael last night that the Jets are going to beat the Bills on Sunday.
All right.
I think they will. I think
that'd be a perfect jet move.
Got Mike from Stoneham to look up. He looked surprised there with that take.
Well, I mean, they should have beat Tampa Bay last Sunday. Maybe they come out and do, maybe.
Yeah, but Dad, if you've not learned anything over the years, betting on the NFL.
No, it's terrible.
The Bills almost should have lost to the Falcons last week, and the Jets almost.
I got it.
So you know what that means? The Bills are going to beat the Jets by 40 on Sunday.
That's totally true.
And by the way, the Bills almost should have lost to the Falcons, and you're feeling good at halftime if you took the Falcons, and then they blew them out in the second half. So you're betting.
That's right.
Just like that.
By the way, how Josh Allen, just real quick, how Josh Allen look on Sunday?
Oh, it looked like crap.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked like crap. Hey, give us your Miami thoughts real fast, and then we're going to go to the playoff.
Miami, I think I have no idea. I do think it's a better challenge than what we had last week. Flores is going to have a good game plan. I think Miami will play hard, even though they're essentially eliminated. I think the big thing I'd love to see is for the defense to be a little more physical and to maybe practice a little bit more tight man coverage. A, to your point, two, gets the ball out quickly. So try to force him into some mistakes. And B, if you make mistakes and it doesn't work and you give up some big plays, who cares? Like, you're going to play the next week. I'd love to see some reps of a more aggressive man defense and just see how it goes. Like, I'm kind of with Greg Bedard on this front, that like that soft zone, giving space, letting everybody run free is just not going to work in the playoffs. Football, and Belichick knows this better than everybody, is about complementary football. When you have a road warrior, two awesome backs and a great offensive line, and you just want to run it down people's throats on the road, which I do think will work, and we're going to be a tough matchup in January. You got to have an aggressive defense who takes the ball away.
Mm-hmm.
You can't give up 10-minute drives and then go back out and run the ball 3 times. And so they're not complementary right now. I think this Sunday is a good chance to try something new.
One last thought is that in the playoffs, Mac is going to have to make some plays. I think the quarterback has to make plays in the playoffs. And the big concern in some of the things that I've listened to this week, and not that the talking heads know everything, but their concern is, can Mac make those plays, in a playoff atmosphere when the game's on the line? We'll see.
Yep.
So real quick, one thing just to keep in mind is that, ball security. And I know it's boring, but Tua is turned over the ball this year more than any other quarterback, I believe, who's played. So he does try to get the ball out quick, but that's not always a good thing. So if their offensive line is as bad as it is, I think, they're going to speed him up as much as they can. And that doesn't always mean he's going to put the ball in the hands of his guy, or he's going to put he's not going to put the ball in the turf. I think just against the Titans, he had 2, one where he tried to put it in the hands of a running back and it ended up on the ground, and another where he was so busy trying to get out from under the center it ended up on the ground. So
yep, I agree. And we'll see what happens. The spread 6.5. Pats are favored on the road by 6.5.
Just numbers. Should we just do a quick prediction?
Yeah. Let's just go around and we'll go playoffs. Over under 40. So low total, 6.5. Pats are favored. Andrew, we'll just go numbers, and then we'll get into what we want in the playoffs. Go ahead.
Yeah. 23-13 Patriots.
23-13, Mike.
28-15 for the number 15. Why not?
I like it. Dad.
I think 24-17 Patriots.
All right, Bill.
28-21 Pats.
Oh, nice. 28-21. I will go 17-10 Patriots. 17-10. I'll go low. I'll go super under.
And everybody will jumping all over Mac if they only scored 10 points.
Well, no, they're 17. Pat's 17. Patriots win by 7. 17-10. I'd be real happy with our defense if that were the case. Yeah. The Dolphins only scored 10. All right, playoffs. We're in there. There's a chance we still win the division, which would mean a home game, which weirdly enough, I kind of want us to go on the road. I know that's crazy. I think this team's better as an underdog, backs against the wall. I agree, Andrew, that I think I said this a couple weeks ago about the Chiefs. I watched us play soft zone against the Bills, and then I watched the Chiefs, who don't have as many good skill players on defense in the back end as the Pats do, line up in tight man coverage across, get real aggressive against Pittsburgh, and just play an aggressive style of defense, which is what I wanted to see. I got to be honest with you. You said this the other day, and I think you're crazy. the Bengals scare the hell out of me. I don't want anything to do with that three-headed monster in Cincinnati. I think Joe Burrow's the real deal. I think he's got more confidence right now than any quarterback in the NFL. I am nervous that he's not playing on Sunday, which means neither is Joe Mixon, and the line has shifted by like 8 points. And if the Browns lose, we're probably going to get the Bengals. I want the Bengals to win. I want Buffalo. I don't want a piece. I want the whole thing. I want to go right back to Buffalo and shove it right in their faces. I want everything to do with Buffalo or Indianapolis. I'll take Indy too, but I don't think we can play Indy because, well, unless the Jets win. But my pick, who I want to see in the first round, is the Buffalo Bills.
I think you're crazy. That Buffalo Bills team was built to beat the Patriots.
No, man. I think, but I don't think you're going to see the same Pats team that you saw.
I'm just saying that when they built them over the last 5 years, they've been building them to stop Bill Belichick's, offensive schemes and defensive schemes. So
I know. I just think Josh Allen might puke himself. I think Sean McDermott might puke himself. Like, I don't know. The last thing those two want to see are the Pats coming in.
Here's the hottest take. I do think I'd rather have the Bengals. I could regret that at some point. But just to be clear, I said this on Sunday in a text chain to Mike before Greg was even talking about it on Felger and Maz this week. But like, you give me a playoff rookie head coach, a playoff rookie quarterback, a not so good defense, and a weak offensive line, and you give Bill Belichick and Mac Jones a week. Give me that all day. Like, and by the way, I love the fact we'll be an underdog too. For those that might like to partake in putting down wagers, like Patriots money line playoff underdog feels like a pretty good bet. But I actually don't think it matters. I think if this team sticks to the formula of running the ball and, being focused, and we get a little bit of a reboot of Judon, which I think is coming, I think we're going to beat the Bills or the Bengals. And then, we'll figure out Tennessee or Kansas City afterwards. But I actually think this is a team nobody really wants to play the Patriots, whether it's at home or on the road in that wild card weekend.
I agree with that nobody wants to play the Patriots. My thing is give Belichick Buffalo 3 times in 1 year, and he pulls out a victory. That's just me. They almost pulled it out in the second game that they lost. Right?
Yeah, they played horrible.
Bill,
horrible. Could have been worse.
Horrible.
That's what I'm saying. Bill, I'm with you. I totally agree. And by the way, don't lose to Miami. Because if you happen to lose to Miami, I was telling Andrew this yesterday, and the Raiders win, we're headed to Kansas City. I don't want anything to do with Kansas City in the first round. I need that to happen later in the playoffs. I don't want any of that. Dad, Mike, what do you guys want for a first round matchup?
Well, in a perfect world, I'd like to see him go to Buffalo and beat Buffalo, of course. My concern, and again, you say what you want, and Andrew said it weeks back, is Mac Jones good in the cold weather? The weather has something to do with it, maybe. And if they go to Buffalo in a week, 2 weeks' time, or a week's time, no telling what the weather's going to be like up there. At the same time, I prefer them to play Buffalo than I do Cincinnati, I think.
Mike, you know exactly what the weather's going to be like in Buffalo in 2 weeks. Look out the window right there.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, I'm here. -2 feels like.
I don't know. I mean, the skill guys for the Bengals scare everybody out there. But like Andrew says, I mean, it's a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback who's really never been tested in that theater. So, do they want to play the Patriots? Probably not. Either way, they're in the playoffs, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Mike Davis.
Yeah, I guess Cincy, because I think you probably are facing a banged up Mixon, but it's not an easy path any which way you go. I mean, I think we're there a year early anyway. I do like your thought that of those teams, I'd like to face Indy. Because I think Wentz stinks, and I think you learned a lot from facing them earlier in the year, but I don't see that happening.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's funny, we're talking about Buffalo, totally left field here. I listened to another podcast where they talk about it's old Miami guys. And I don't know who the Miami coordinator or running backs coach was a long time ago, but he has like a funny, I think he's from Boston, but the guy makes a joke where he's like, you're going to go, who needs me? You're going to go to Buffalo and win with Bernie Pomeroy, but we don't have Bernie Pomeroy. We got two stallions back there running the ball. So it just made me think about that when you guys said it. But listen, I think you're right. I think, I always do that every year. It's like, who I want to play, who do we match up? I don't think it matters. Like literally, no, I don't think anybody wants to play this team. I think this team's gritty. Andrew, the one thing you say, and then we'll get out of here, is you always bring up the offense, though, about running, controlling the ball, so on and so forth. I'm real worried about that defense. I don't know if they can play man-up tight defense and bring a lot of pressure. That's what concerns me about anybody that we play, specifically the Bengals. So, all right.
We'll find out.
All right. Yeah, you're right. All right. So episode 15 in the books. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Hey, let's go beat the Dolphins this weekend. Let's enjoy it. And then on to the wild card round, and we'll be here for
Let's squish the fish.
Yeah. Squish the fish. Go Pats, guys.
My age.
Happy New Year, everybody.